Okay. Lettuce and tomato. Bacon. BLT. Let us look at the Adventure Remaster changes. Apparently, they were so happy with how happy the players were that they thought, well, what if we just gave them a bunch of updates already immediately so they have more time to play around with that instead of waiting all the way until the 20th, until the first overhaul happens. So now they have 8 extra days to play with the new changes in Korea and can give direct feedback again, which I think is pretty cool. Surprise Test World Patch was released today with some changes to the Adventure Remaster. Planning team leader Kim Chung-sup wrote these notes and mentioned they released additional changes earlier than planned as a way for paying players enthusiasm and support for the update. And as you can see by this picture, the one thing that was probably critically unacclaimed, whatever, the posh version of that skill was, I guess that was a priority to redo that one because a lot of people were not too happy about that skill. Yeah, not Wonky, no. Kim Chung-sup. The next set of changes should be released next week on January 18th, which is also when they are doing the balance patch for all jobs. I foresee a huge patch note for that one, and might be another 1 or 2 day delay until Max gets all that stuff put together. No problem with that, but that probably means that it's going to be 1 or 2 days after that until I'm going to be able to go through all of that. When GMS originally come out, May 23rd, 2005, I believe. Is that? I think that's the official release date, right? When it got out of alpha and went into full release, I believe. Is it 23rd? It's in May, at least the anniversary. I think it's 23rd. But hello, this is MapleStory's planning team leader, Kim Chung-sup. The Adventure Remaster was applied to the loud as fuck piano that needs to take a chill pill to the test world on January 6th update. After the update, there was so much interest that it became hard to access the test world, and we also received many opinions through various channels. Many of the opinions you have sent us are very well organized, which has been a great help in determining the direction of our changes. We give a sincere thank you to everyone who sent in their thoughts. Alright, I like that this is not like a suck up, we apologize, we will do it. It's just like, okay, you guys gave good feedback, so we can work with that feedback. Just like, stop dwelling on the fucking past and look towards the future and work towards new stuff. Cool. There's going to be an apology at the end, isn't there? As we said before, we were planning to make additional changes along with the balance patch on January 18th, but we decided that letting players know the direction of our changes more than a day earlier would be a good way to repay your enthusiastic support and to further improve the quality of the Adventure Remaster. True. Of course, in addition to the changes that we made this time, there are still other changes that need to be made, and we expect that even more changes will be made after listening to players' opinions. One of the big things that they haven't really done is adjusted the cooldowns, the percentages of the skills, and that kind of stuff. It's mainly the functionality and the look of the skills, right? And that the sound effects and stuff. They were said that all of that has to be added as well later. So that's all still under construction. First of all, please check today's changes, and if you send your opinions through various channels like last time, we will carefully check and review your valuable feedback and repay you with a more complete update. Good shit. This test world update is focused on improving structural problems or correcting inaccurate changes rather than numerical adjustments. As mentioned before, the numerical improvements will be primarily changed in the test world on January 18th and will continue to be changed until the update is released in the official server on January 27th. So that's, again, to reiterate, that's when the Adventurers Complete Rework is going to go live in Korea MapleStory. So that's still 2 full weeks and a day away. But that's a huge crunch for them to get everything done. But because it's only 2 weeks, but it's 2 more weeks, but it's only 2 weeks. Decent Holy Symbol effect has been changed. So I imagine that all of the decent skills are all going to be moved into the new effects of the changed skills. All Warriors Upper Charge action delay has been changed. This skill now applies final attack and fix the awkward parts of the skill use action. I wonder if that means that I don't need to put it on a macro anymore? Interested to see. Weapon acceleration fixed initiation by attack speed wasn't increased. Oh, that would be a problem because that's its sole purpose. Fixed initiation where you could learn this skill without learning weapon mastery. Flashlight. So we're at hero, by the way. Flashlights. You cannot be knocked back by any enemy attacks while using this skill now. Okay, so it's a knockdown skill. A cooldown of 4 seconds has been added. That's huge compared to being able to just teleport around the map freely, of course. Fixed an issue where you would sometimes be moved to an abnormal location. I guess teleportation can do that. Aura blade damage has been decreased from 200% to 180. Number of hits has been decreased from 6 to 5. The skill now deals 180% points increased damage when attacking regular monsters. Okay, so they wanted to make it weaker on bosses, stronger while mobbing or something like that. Okay. That seems okay. I mean, it is mainly... Well, it's kind of strange because it would be mainly a mobbing skill, right? You wouldn't really use this against bossing. Scarring a sword. So that's like the new... Rage. Duration has been increased from 60 seconds to 200. Cool. The skill can now be registered in the pet skill window. Fix the location of the effect displayed on scarred monsters. Cool. Wait, no, not Rage. The new... Hang on. The new Panic, right? But you get a buff instead that when you hit monsters, you apply them with the Panic debuff, I believe. Where are my heroes at? It's a Panic, right? Self-recovery, the amount of HP and MP recovered has been changed to 4% maximum HP and MP. It's a percentage? Oh my god. Are they going to do that for all the things, guys? Are they going to remove HP, MP, defense stuff and give it percentages instead? Skill description has been changed to be more accurate. Nerf hero. Incising debuff duration has been increased from 30 seconds to 60. A cooldown of 8 seconds has been added. Okay. Passive boost to Aura Blade has been decreased from 160% points to 70. I guess with this combination, they wanted to move where the damage comes from a little bit. And skill description has been changed to be more accurate. Valhalla duration has been decreased from 30 seconds to 24. Cooldown has been decreased from 150 seconds to 120. Okay, synchronizing it with other skills. That feels fair. The skill now instantly increases your combo to the maximum when used. Oh, this is like the old energy skills of Buccaneer and that kind of stuff. So you just pop it and boom. Immediately full combo orbs. That's also nice for like content where you have to go in unbuffed, right? For example, in Ursus or in Culvert or something. Not that it's super game breaking or anything, but immediately being able to start with full orbs, that's kind of cool. The Sword Strike's continuous attack has been removed. The damage has been decreased from 500% to 420. Nice. Number of hits has been decreased from 4 to 3. The Sword Strike's continuous attack has been removed. Then what is doing damage now? Is it just going to be one extra swipe? Finishing where the Sword Strike's damage was not applied properly. Huh, we're going to have to see some playtests for this. Because this skill seems like they have somewhat of a plan what to do with it, but I'm not 100% sure on what they're trying to do with Valhalla. And Death Server Puncture had no cooldown. It did more damage than Raging Blow. Well, we saw the pictures. If you're just spamming Puncture versus just spamming Raging Blow, I think that makes sense. But the purpose is that you use Puncture to debuff and then use Raging Blow, and then Raging Blow would overpower. But from the footage that we saw, they were just holding down one. But they weren't using the debuff on the target when they were Raging Blowing, and that was the number that they were comparing with, which was a weird comparison to draw for me. But apparently in KMS, people never debuffed with Puncture before because they thought it wasn't worth it, which is interesting because it's also a boss debuff for your teammates, but apparently they never used that. But I'm pretty sure in GMS we always use this. So, yeah, not 100% sure what was all going on with that. Burning Soul Blade, this skill now instantly increases your combo to the maximum when used as well, okay. And combo Deathfall, so World Reaver, skill now increases your final damage equal to 6 of your combo counters for 5 seconds after it hits an enemy. So the final damage is coming back whenever you swipe that and get those combos. Due to Hero Remaster released in Test World on January 6, where combo consumption was entirely removed, the final damage buff effect obtained after using combo World Reaver was also removed. Although we tried to compensate for this lowered value by changing Valhalla, we decided that it could not be replaced completely because the utility of the final damage boost varied depending on the situation. Sure. Therefore, but Valhalla seemed very strong. Therefore, we have added the ability to obtain a final damage buff effect for a certain period of time when casting World Reaver, and the overall performance of Valhalla was adjusted. In addition, it was not intended that Hero's combat operation difficulty would become more difficult due to the new skill showing excessive power, so Aura Blade's performance has been adjusted so that it is appropriately useful only when hunting. Okay. Oh, they didn't want to make it more complicated with like weaving in attacks and shit. Okay. I imagine they're still going to be tweaking the numbers and how the skills work exactly. There's probably going to be more feedback coming in the next 1 to 2 weeks, so... Paladin Holy Force fixed an error when Blessed Hammer's damage was lost. Oh. Divine Charge fixed an error in the battle analysis. Sure. Stigma. Advanced Holy Force fixed an error. Okay. Divine Judgment, Divine Brand's duration has been increased from 15 seconds to 30. Fixed an error the damage applied has lower than the skill description. Oh, doubling the debuff timer on Divine Judgment. That could be nice. Grand Cross, maximum key down duration has been decreased from 10 seconds to 6 seconds. They're really, we scrolled through it a little bit earlier, but it really looks like they're trying to take all the key down skills and make them all do not as much damage per key down, but make it do more than half the damage, but in like half the time. To make sure that your burst is not just like holding one key down for half of your burst and then actually using your skills for the rest of the burst. It seems like they want to make the burst skills do not as much damage, but do damage per time way more, but over a shorter amount of time. So yeah, familiars for drop rate, check ! familiars. There's a database on the bottom, but what lines you get depends on what rank the familiar is, not which monster the familiar is anymore. Damage increased from 420, nice, to 595, even nicer. Enhanced forms damage has been increased from 720 to 1040. Attack frequency has been changed, I love that word. The instant HP consumption when used has been removed, and the HP consumption per second has been increased from 1.5% to 2%. Okay. Holy Unity, duration has been decreased from 85 seconds to 42. And the cooldown has been decreased from 180 seconds to 90. Oh. Has been changed so that you can use the skill again while Holy Unity is active to bond with party members without having to press the down arrow key. This probably makes more sense. Well, I think Paladin will very nicely synchronize now with a lot of classes that have shorter cooldowns on their skills. That's kind of nice. Because, I mean, yeah, how long are you really going to be bursting if you're doing a 3-minute rotation? You're not really going to be bursting much longer than 42 seconds. That's already, like, kind of long, right? And that's also the entire duration of Hard Lucid Part 3. That lasting 85 seconds. Like, it probably makes more sense if you're boosting, like, an arc and you got Spell Bullet going on for 100 seconds. But other than that, there's not too many classes that really have quote-unquote burst for that long. I imagine if you're linking to like more of a DPM class that maybe had like some skills on like a 60-second cooldown or something, it might technically be a drop, but I think in general just, I don't know, cutting the duration and cutting the cooldown seems like you have more utility. Throw it out more often. Okay. Developer notes for Paladin. The major changes that apply to Paladin Remaster release and test world. Changing the Grand Cross and the Holy Unity's cooldowns. For Grand Cross, although it is a skill designed to deal more damage, on the latter part of the skill, the keydown duration was rather long, so the operation difficulty was high. To improve this, we have reduced the maximum keydown duration while maintaining the same overall damage, and we have also removed the immediate HP consumption after casting and slightly increased the HP consumption per second to lower the difficulty of using the skill. Wait, so they kept the total damage exactly the same, but you do all of the damage in 6 seconds now instead of 10. That's pretty cracked. Holy Unity's cooldown was changed from 120 to 180. From 120 to 180. No. From. Oh right, before. However, because of this, certain play patterns that were possible before the remaster became limited in some cases, so we wanted to improve the usability of the skill by changing its cooldown to 90. Oh, so they went from 120 to 180, and then from 180 back down to 90. Nice. Just, you know, just trying some stuff out. Okay. So I guess we'll see, yeah, we'll see more gameplay with that. And of course, when you have a skill like Holy Unity, right, where you link to another person and then give them and yourself more final damage and all of that stuff, if everyone else, if all the other puzzle pieces, right, all the other characters are changing and doing damage in a different way and doing more or less damage depending on the situation, then a skill that takes some of that or that amplifies some of that will have really funky interactions at some point that you you know, it's very possible that this goes live and then like 3 months in they're like, oh shit, we just found something that wasn't intended at all and we have to kind of tweak that for this one specific skill. Cue the whole kit of Phantom, I guess. It's the iterative process I like to see. Yeah, just like try stuff, collect feedback, try something else, collect feedback, try something else until you get to the point where the general, you know, if you get like 10 points of feedback and all of those pieces of feedback are exactly the same, you probably need to change something. If you get 10 points of feedback, they're pretty moderate and they're all completely different, then, you know, either you need to change the whole skill or it's probably fine, you know, depending on what your sample size is and how many people play. If there's only 10 people playing, then you need to change it. If there's 1 million people playing, then you don't need to change anything. Beholder's buff. The effect will not be displayed on the character when the buff is applied. The effect when a monster is hit has been changed for Gungnir's Descent. Okay. And Reincarnation's half mode's invincibility duration has been increased from 6 to 8. Okay, that's what I thought. And the number of monsters needed to defeat to reduce the cooldown has been changed to 24, quarter, 44, half, and 52 for full. Okay, I fixed an issue by moving to another map during reincarnation. Reset the gauge. Okay, that's not cool. All right, that's not cool. Reincarnation. Okay, so there's, yeah, so they're kind of like tweaking that one and seeing what the sweet spot is for that. That early one really wasn't 2 seconds, was it? Dark Resonance. This skill now reboot with that Microsoft thingy and the game doesn't work any fix. Wait, this is, what is the fixes compatibility mode, right? You tried that one? Dark Resonance, this skill now increases final damage by 6% when active. Oh. Cool, some final damage. Beholder Shock 3s fired after images of condensed darkness have been changed. They will now disappear after attacking several enemies. Fixed an issue where they could not attack small monsters. Ooh. Have you made a ticket for that, Cat? Echoes? A support ticket? Usually for support when it comes to like the... not the mechanical side. Like the technical side, usually support is pretty good for that. No answers. I guess they're pretty swamped right now because of the compensation and the DMT with the cubes and everything. So hopefully they can get back to you ASAP. But if anyone else had the same problem as Cut Echoes with the white screen and then nothing happening after that, please help them in the chat. Reincarnation damage final damage boost has been decreased from 30% to 5%. The final damage boost has been changed from applying when reincarnation is active to being applied passively. Wait. Okay, usually you wouldn't use... This is a big change. Usually you wouldn't use Gungnir's Might only during when you're like reincarnation going off, right? Because otherwise it has cooldown. But now they removed the cooldown for Gungnir's Descent always. So it wouldn't make sense that they wouldn't buff the reincarnation as much anymore. Plus the reincarnation isn't as big a part because it's not going to last as long compared to your total kit. So they didn't feel as necessary to really boost when you're in reincarnation versus just boosting you the whole time. It didn't have cooldown during sacrifice either. Yeah, so you had to sacrifice or be in reincarnation mode, right? Well, was that 100% uptime? I need some more Dark Knight insight for this, but losing 30% final damage during reincarnation for 5% all the time? I don't know what the percentages for the uptime is, but this feels like this feels not good. It feels But I guess the Dark Resonance gives 6% now. If you're Dark Knight, you can shed some light on this. Gladly have that. Reincarnation reduced targets. The reduced number of targets required to decrease the cooldown has been changed to the same 30% of quarter, half, and full modes. Okay. Is 40 strength 6 all good enough to transpose onto Sweetwater Pendant? Probably not. Probably not good enough. You can check ! Flames to calculate flame score and see how good the flame is that you're looking for, but for transposing, you usually want 105 as like the bottom. And you want to go up as high as 115 to 125 depending on, you know, what your financial capabilities are. But 40 and 6 is usually too low. Usually what people aim for is like I would say like 56 and 6 or something. It's probably good enough. That's like the bare minimum. Most people aim for 60 and 6, 68 and 6, something like that. In this remaster, Dark Knight received a significant amount of changes to its core skill Reincarnation, but other things that need additional improvements have been found. Reincarnation is a skill that has the pro of a long duration with the con of a long cooldown. In this remaster, to prevent the existing Reincarnation from being an unattractive choice, we intentionally set quarter and half modes uptime to be lower than full mode. However, the values in the test world created an excessively high level of difficulty when considering complex boss battles, so this has been corrected. In addition, half mode, which linked well with Dark Knight's other skills, had lower effectiveness than the other modes, so we have slightly increased its duration, from 6 to 8. There was a problem with the hyper skill Reincarnation damage effect force limits on when players could use the invisibility skill Reincarnation. Therefore, the skill has been changed to increase Reincarnation's passive final damage boost, and the final damage boost effect has been added to Dark Resonance to improve Reincarnation where it can be used more flexibly. Wonder if that combination is enough to compensate for the 30%. I mean, I guess those numbers come from somewhere, so I guess we'll see how those changes happen. In addition, we would like to improve hunting performance by changing Beholder Shock 3's projectiles to hit multiple monsters and fixing an error where sometimes smaller monsters were not hit. Okay. I like that it seems like they're following up on all the feedback, and then I imagine that they have like a list of things that they wanted to change, and then a list of questions that they still had, like these are the problem areas where we need to check if these are doing well. And then if they got feedback within those areas, then they immediately made the switch, because it's like, okay, that's something that we were kind of already afraid of that might happen. So if they got feedback confirming that they immediately switched those things around. All magicians, teleport movement distance has been increased from 275 vertically to 295 vertically. Skill description has been changed. Teleport mastery, the additional MP consumption has been increased from 1 MP to 20. Get nerfed, mages. Class is dead now. 19 more MP cost on teleport. There goes your bossing capabilities. You're going to be pushing potions at the ass. Okay. Teleport boost. The teleport movement distance boost has been decreased from 95 vertically to 25 vertically. Whoa. Okay. wait. So instead of the boosted 370, now it's 320. Whoa. Okay. Never mind. Big change. Mage nerf. Another nerf. Unstable Memorize fixed an issue where if you used Infinity again through Unstable Memorize, when Infinity was in its swirling magic stage, the effect would not be reset. Cringe. In the last test world, teleport-related values were applied incorrectly. It was not intended for teleport and teleport mastery add range to be shorter than before, so they have been changed to their intended values. Apologies for difficulties in testing. Okay. My vertical hops, yeah. If you matrix loaded dice, I click 6, nothing happens. You have to do a loaded dice. Oh, you don't click 6, you press the 6 on your keyboard, and that will lock it in. You have to do 1 through 6 on your keyboard, and that'll activate it. Not clicking the icon on your screen. Okay, poison region. The poison area's creation interval and maximum creation amount has been adjusted. It has been changed so that the poison areas cannot be exploded for a certain period of time after they are created. Okay, that skill looked like it was gonna cause some troubles. If a single enemy is hit by multiple explosions within 0.4 seconds, the second and later explosions have 50% decreased final damage. The explosion damage has been decreased from 206 to 192. A number of hits decreased from 6 to 5. Fix the problem where the real number of hits and the displayed number of hits were different. Yeah, that should never happen. The poison areas can now be exploded by meteor. DOT Punisher skill description has been changed, and Fury of Ifrit, the skill... The Fury of Ifrit? Oh no. The Bnezonot attack. The skill has been changed so that the attack is done at the character's location when it is used. Okay, yeah. I like that change. It's minor, but it's more exact to know exactly when it's where it's going to. Test runs January 6th, we added Poison Region, which was designed to replace the low utility Slime Virus, yeah, and slightly improve the Fire Poison's hunting ability. My guess is that it more than slightly increased it. Was providing appropriate amount of secondary damage in boss fights. However, since the poison arrow created speed was too fast, the automatic explosion attacks were very frequent and could hit multiple times depending on the size of the monster. So its power was unexpectedly high. Okay, you say unexpectedly high. I saw that skill one time in the during the showcase, and I already saw that that shit was gonna be cracked. But I expected it to be very high. We adjusted Poison Region's overall performance accordingly. Okay. Yeah, because I totally get that their mobbing early on can be helped, but there's also a bunch of other stuff that they tweaked, so it's not necessarily a skill that needs to do all that much for the late game and the end game for Fire Poison. Archmage. Chain Lightning attack range has been increased even more. Ooh. Dude, Ice Lightning is going to be fucking cracked, I think. Cold Beam, the effect on a monster's hit has been changed. Freezing Breath, the action delay has been changed, fixing an issue where the bind effect applied too late if the skill was immediately cancelled after using it. Ice Aura, Vortex range has been increased. And Teleport Mastery at range, the skill description has been changed to be more accurate. Yeah, I guess that's connected to the other stuff. The Desperate update in January 6th, certain things were applied correctly, such as Chain Lightning related values. Other skill details and descriptions. Chain Lightning's chain range has been increased as intended, and we have also fixed errors for skills that unintentionally became less effective than before. Oh yeah, increased as intended. I guess because they were trying to do this, but apparently it didn't apply properly, so now it's actually increased, okay guys? Trust. Try it now. I apologize again for inconvenience caused during testing. Okay. Well, yeah, if this is something that they like said that they would, and then it didn't apply properly, they apologize for it and move on. Good. Buff Lumi Reflection. Yeah, Lumi Reflection is really quite a bad skill. Definitely needs some touch up, yeah. Holy Arrow. Fix an issue where sometimes the skill did not attack. Well, that sounds like a problem. The attack range based on the direction you were facing. The attack range has been... Angelic Touch. The skill use effect and attack range have been changed. The effect when a monster is hit has been changed. Okay. Fountain for Angel skill description have been changed. Triumph Feather combat orders no longer apply to this skill. Aww. Holy Water. You can now acquire Holy Water even when using Vengeance of Angels. Cool. Holy Blood. Ooh, looks like they changed something to Holy Blood. Damage boost effect has been changed to a final damage boost effect. I told you guys that it was shit. The buff. I told you guys that that the only reason I read that skill is like this has to be final damage, right? Because if this is damage percentage, this is garbage. It has to be the worst buff in the game. Okay, the buff duration no longer changes based on the character's intellect. The cooldown and final damage have been changed. You can now cancel the skill effect by using the skill again while it is active. For 10 seconds, take 20% increased damage and HP recovered from skills is decreased by 99%. You know, that's still there. Recovery from items is not affected. Increase final damage by 1% plus 1% per 5,000 intellect additive. Okay. That's not that much. It's basically like an extra mana overload, right? Cooldown 300 seconds. Cooldown is decreased by 10 seconds per 5,000 int and can be decreased up to 120 seconds. So it's a 3-minute. If you're capped out, it's a 3-minute cooldown, 10 seconds, 13% final damage, with a 20% increased damage taken and HP recovery from skills down 99%. I'm still not sure that's exactly what we want. I mean, they want it to be like a high cost, high reward kind of thing, but it looks more like a skill that people would consider using. I guess with all the other tweaks that they gave to Bishop, throwing this in there as well might actually give them as like the battle bishops out there more of a punch. I'm just... With things like this, I'm always very weary of... The 5,000 int might make sense for non-reboot, but for reboot, this number should always be different. Right? Because there are sources of int just lower. So, you always... I don't know if they're Yeah, reboot is not mentioned here. When you do things like that, I feel like you always need in the notes, in the developer notes, like we pick this number for the balance of non-reboot, and for reboot we're keeping the same because of this. Like I feel it has to be justified. Or we're going to tweak it because of the, maybe you're going to put it down to like 4,500 or something, or like per 4,000. I still think this seems too harsh for how little this is with how long the cooldown is. But I think it's closer in the direction where we want it, I think. I mean, I'm okay with bishops getting like way more shit. I don't want him to feel like just lesser kanas in every single aspect of the game, you know? Like they need a few things where they're just way better at. I guess, you know, Holy Shell and the healing that they have is probably more versatile than Kana, but all the other stuff in Kana makes up for it, so. But again, KMS is not trying to compete with Kanas because they don't have them, you know. So that, yeah, that's a tricky thing. The values increasing per skill level have been changed. The mark effect has been changed. Skill description has been changed to be more accurate for Angels of Libra. And the core image has been changed. Sure, the M arc effect has been changed. Oh, the mark effect. Oh. Sorry, I see arc. Peacemaker. Fixed an issue where you could not end the skill while using Vengeance of Angels. Okay. Based on feedback after the test world update of January 6th, we have first improved the areas where skill usage was inconvenient. In addition to compensate for Holy Blood's low effectiveness compared to its penalty, the damage boost has been changed from final damage boost, and it is now proportionate to the character's intellect, so the bishops with higher stats can receive higher effects, in line with the remaster's plan for bishops. Honestly, how did I see this? I don't know if you want to make it like 1% plus 2% per 5,000 intellect, or like 1% per like 2,500 or per 3,000 or something, or if you want to turn the base up to like 5% plus 1% per 5,000, something like that. Because I think this can work, but this 1 plus 1 per 5,000, I think this is the one thing that needs to be tweaked just a little bit. Either make this into a 2 or this into like a 5 or a 6, or make this number lower. And I think you could be there. I think it could be done at that point. And with the remaster's plan for bishops, yeah. Archers, bolt, quiver, overflow, the skill cooldown and duration have been changed to be the same value of 120. That sounds like a whole lot of people are probably going to ask, then why is it not a passive? No. That's a bolt, quiver, overflow. That's a teleport thing, right? While the mark is installed, yeah, you can now use the skill again with the down arrow key to reinstall it. Buff freezers will now apply to the skill. Oh, cool. Retreat charge will now no longer be knocked back by any enemy attack for a short period of time after using this skill. Oh, knocked down. Cool. In Test World Update January 6th, Steigeisen and net throwing were removed, and the relatively low mobility was compensated for with Bolt and Quiver Overflow. We wanted to improve the low survivability of both classes by adding a teleport skill with a short cooldown. However, Bolt Quiver flows limited uptime, the problem where you could not reinstall them afterwards, and not having a skill that replaced the super stance effect that could be obtained by using Steigeisen properly made their effects less efficient than we intended. Okay. So they weren't living up to the purpose that they were put in the game for. Accordingly, we have increased Bolt and Quiver Overflows uptime to 100%, added the ability to reinstall the mark while it is inactive, and added the short super stance effect when casting Retreat Shot to supplement the effectiveness that was provided by Steigeisen. Okay. Alright, so they're keeping track that those skills are doing what they're supposed to do. Okay. Bowmaster, Soul Arrow fixed an issue where after learning Soul Arrow basic attacks did not show arrows. Oh. Flash Mirage, so that's one of the newer skills. The range to search for enemies again after the aftermath fired arrows cannot find an enemy has been changed. The skill now increases Arrow of Wind's attack range and damage by 70% points. Buff freezer will now apply. Fix an error where arrows were consumed even after Soul Arrow was learned. Okay, interesting. Skill core description has been changed to be more accurate, and the skill description has been changed to be more accurate. Okay. Yeah, I think that's another thing, is that they're going to change the descriptions of skills a whole lot. Because someone has to be able to read not too much text and understand exactly how the skill works. And for some skills, that can be tricky to put that much information concisely into 1 or 2 lines of text. So, arrow planetary attack angles when used directly and when installed have been changed to be applied the same. The action delay has been changed on Hurricane The arrows have been changed to be fired faster. Oh, is that another thing that they forgot? Because they already said that they made this faster, right? Bow expert critical damage boost has been increased from 8 to 16%. Okay. Fixing error, the arrow platter damage boost was applied incorrectly. The way the arrows search for enemies has been improved. That's always nice to have the AI on target searching improved. And buff freezer was now applied to Silhouette Mirage. Oh. After the Bowmaster remaster and test world, poison arrows which had low utility were removed. Yeah, and to improve the inconvenience of quiver cartridge, we have compensated for this by adjusting the critical damage boost of Bow Expert. Right, okay. Because even though they were shit, they still provided more damage when you during quiver full burst, right? Even after quiver full burst first improvement, instead of tracking monsters' location in real time, there were still problems with its logic where the arrows would fly to the location where monsters were when they were first fired, and they would disappear from the target location if there were no enemies. That's something in general I think that a lot of skills have. I think spell bullets do this as well. They fly to a monster, it dies right before, they go there, then they're like, oh, what do we do now? Nothing nearby? Well, I guess we just fizzle. That's unfortunate. Accordingly, we have changed Quiver's full burst fired arrows to track and attack monsters' locations in real time to increase its effectiveness. Cool, cool. Alright. V-skill description does more damage. Description does some damage. Hits things, numbers appear. Marksman. Ooh, what is that, new animation? For our hyper skill? Freezer Wings. This skill has been changed to Volt Swift. Oh. You can now use this skill regardless of freezer. Cooldown has been decreased from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. Ah, okay, so that's a replacement for the freezer. So they implemented Freezer Wings as a basically an like the freezer just like flaps their wings and gives an AoE, but they wanted it to not be reliant on the freezer. So that's pretty cool. That's a 10-second AoE replacing the 12-second AoE. Okay. Advanced Enhanced Arrow. The focus on buff's final damage boost has been decreased from 12% to 4%. Ooh. Defense ignored has been decreased from 30 to 13%. The duration has been increased from 12 seconds to 15 seconds, and the skill now passively increases final damage by 8% and defense ignored by 20%. Oh. I mean, I kind of get this, but I also kind of don't get this because every single skill constantly gives focus on buff. But I guess in playtest they found that the focus on buff is off more than they expected it to be, so that's why they made some of it passive to make up for. Because we talked about this before, right? They took away the damage that you get, the conditional damage that you get from being far away from a target, and they changed it to being conditional on keeping the boss debuffed. But I guess the boss debuff was more difficult to keep up than they initially thought, so they still added a bunch more of it to passive. Okay, Piercing, Enhanced Piercing. The arrow effect and attack range have been changed. Enhanced Piercing 2's additional attack at the end's range has been changed. Split arrow duration has been increased from 60 seconds to 72 seconds. Rejoice. That's some good shit. That definitely means that in a 2-minute rotation now you can split arrow way more. Yeah, you could split arrow way more and then go loot afterwards. Get more stuff to loot. Good shit. The test world update in January 6th, Marksman's distance system was removed and enhanced arrow system. I just said that. In this process, we removed the final damage and defense ignore effects of distancing sense. 2, enhanced arrows focus on buff. Yeah, but its duration was short, making it too hard to keep up. Therefore, sometimes it's just hard to keep it up, dude. Therefore, some of the focus on buff's final damage and defense ignore boosts have been changed to passive effects of advanced enhanced arrow, and its duration has been increased so that the dependence on stress of maintaining it are reduced. In addition, we decided that the hunting ability needed to be further improved, so we would like to make the following improvements. First, Piercing, and Enhanced Piercing 2's attack range have been increased, and Split Arrow's duration has been increased. Freezer Wings was added with the intention of supplementing Marksman's mobbing, but it could not be used with Evolve, so its effectiveness was low. Right. When you evolve your bird, you can't use it. Accordingly, we have changed Freezer Wings to a skill that can be used regardless of Freezer. Right. All Thieves. Lucky 7 skill description changed. Double stab, sudden raid, all the description changed. Sure. Double stab and Lucky 7 were changed to match the characteristics of each job so that you could experience the skills of Shadower and Nightlord in advance during the first job advancement. However, since Lucky 7's performance was excessively good compared to Double Stab, there was a problem where it was not used, so we have improved it. Wait, since Lucky 7's performance was excessively good compared to Double Stab, there was a problem where it was not used. I mean, where Double Stab was not used. But I think how you write the sentence here, it seems to refer to Lucky 7. But okay, we're just getting into grammar territory now. Nightlord, Shuriken Burst. Explosion attack range has been changed. The Shuriken's flying speed has been changed. Darksight will now be cancelled when this skill is used. Okay. Shadow Leap. This skill can now be used in maps where only movement skills can be used. Sure. Shuriken's recreation cooldown will now be displayed as an icon on at the top of the screen. Vision by Darksight could be cancelled when Shuriken's attacked a monster. The formula for additional experience and item drop rate per level has been changed to be 5% at level 30. Oh, okay. So that's going to be progressive instead of just a flat amount. Shuriken, Darksight will now be cancelled when this skill is used. Ooh. Spread throw effects realm effect did not change when using triple throw or quadruple throw while active. Who would ever use triple throw when you have spread throw on? Literally inting. The skill description has been changed to be more accurate. I guess griefing, maybe. Griefing your party out of damage. Dark Lord's Secret Scroll. The Dark Sight will now be cancelled when this skill is used and reused. Fix a problem where you could not reuse the skill in Dark Sight to explode it. In the previous Test World update, we improved Nightlord's overall growth and combat experience. However, we confirmed that using Shuriken Burst felt worse than Lucky 7 from the previous job advancement. So we have adjusted the speed the Shuriken flies and the range of the explosion attack to match second job skills. Yeah, you don't want people to be using first job skills and second job because the second job skill is worse than the first one. That's usually not what you're intending to do. Maybe in like one or two specific situations, but not overall. In addition, we have improved convenience by adding an icon that lets you see Showdown Challenges Shuriken Recreation cooldown time. Changing Showdown Challenges max level was not meant to change its item drop rate value, but the formula was applied incorrectly. Ah, okay. Apologize for not being able to test smoothly due to incorrect values. Okay. I like that they're, I mean, the constant apologizing gets a little bit, but like whenever it was something that they fucked up, they're immediately like, okay, we're sorry for this, we fixed it. Let's, work on the solution. I think that's generally, they're not going like down on their knees, fucking face to the ground every single time, but was it like OTL stuff? Thief Agility Darksight will now, Foreshadower, will now be maintained when using the up jump. Pickpocket, fix. Meso Explosion fix a problem where the skill consumed regular mesos dropped on the map. Oh, that's not supposed to happen. Assassin now prioritizes the monster with the highest maximum HP. Oh, it didn't do that. Okay, that's probably good. The finishing blow can now be cancelled with Meso Explosion. The action delay has been changed. The Murderous Intent buff will now be maintained if the finishing blow does not hit an enemy. Ah. Okay. Skill description has been... So if you're like trying to attack the boss and he teleports away, you don't lose your stacks. That's probably a good idea. The skill description has been changed to be more accurate. Bloody Explosion attack range has been changed. Skill now prioritizes monster with the highest HP. So this is like the new boomerang. No. Sorry. Bloody Explosion is the Meso Explosion on bosses, right? With the bloody Meso. And then Trick Blade. Fix the problem where the skill could not be used when jumping during Assassin's finishing blow. Okay. What up, John Tash? Long time no see. How you doing? And Shadow Assault buff freezers will now apply to the skill. Wait, they didn't? Okay, well, that's probably a good thing. In today's test world... Oh my god, why is there so much text? I need to go to the bathroom. In today's test world update, we made improvements to Assassin's usability and the main skills attacks. First of all, we would like to inform you about the changes related to Assassin's action delay. In January 6th test world update, instead of making Assassin's finishing blow cancelable with Meso Explosion or Bloody Explosion, the first attack's action delay was greatly reduced. The main problems with this change were as follows. First, Assassin's finishing blow action delay was the same as before the remaster, but you could no longer cancel it with Meso Explosion. So it became inconvenient to use Assassinate as the main skill when hunting. Okay, it's already 42 minutes. I'll do a part 2 on this one, I guess. Because I need to pee like a motherfucker.